Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is another different video. The last video that I filmed, which was the first episode of my WWE Supercard experience, was a major flop, but nevertheless we'll move on. Hopefully I'll have another WWE Supercard video coming out on the weekend, so keep your ears and eyes peeled for that one. Today we are going to focus on Australian boxing, and I think this will be a little bit of a podcasty type episode or video, so it should be good. We're going to talk all things the Canelo deal, the Canelo Alvarez deal that he signed this morning was massive. We're going to be talking about the Liam Parrow fight in Brisbane last week, Jason Moloney's upcoming world title bout in Orlando, Florida as part of the World Boxing Super Series, and Australian boxing in the month to come. So we'll start with Canelo Alvarez's major deal. He's signed a $365 million deal with DAZN, which is an American streaming company, over 5 years. So that is massive. That is the biggest deal ever signed by a professional boxer in the world. So he's left Golden Boy, as they were big contributors to HBO. So obviously he's chasing the big money fights with the bigger paychecks, which every professional boxer wants to do at that level. And I think it's a very fair deal for him to have taken. Obviously $70 million a year, which is massive. That's really, really big. And that's a minimum as well. So that could end up being 400, maybe 500 million if he's lucky over that 5 years, and that is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that somebody in this day and age, well, not necessarily, obviously McGregor made over $100 million and so did Mayweather for their fight last year, and we thought that was the pinnacle, that we thought that was the biggest that you could get, but Canelo has smashed that out of the ballpark, so fair play to him, and good luck in his upcoming fight against Rocky Fielding, which is an odd fight. I thought that he would continue to dominate the middleweight division for a little bit before he moved up, but no, he's gone straight ahead and he's going to fight Rocky Fielding on December the 15th for his WBA super middleweight belt. So that will be an exciting contest. The second thing I want to move on to was Liam Parrow's fight in Brisbane last week. It was a good card in Brisbane actually. It was rather an exciting card with multiple state belts on the line, and it was good to see boxing re-televised in Australia again. It's not really live anymore. There's obviously Hosking Promotions do replays a couple of weeks afterwards, and they're always good. But no, it's good that we're starting to get higher cards in Australia, and it's even better that they're being publicised and put on Foxtel. So he fought Robert Talatic, who was a German, over 10, and he stopped him in 7. And from what I saw, it was a rather one-sided fight, and obviously that just shows the strength of Liam Parrow. On that undercard was Jacob NG, and he put in a good enough performance against Mark Ramirez to win the Queensland State Lightweight belt, and obviously also Dempsey McKean defeated Victor Oganov over 8 rounds. He knocked him out in the 6th. He's had a lot of talk going into the fight that he was the next big thing, and that he was going to really challenge Lucas Brown. I'm not sure if he just had an off night. He just didn't look at his best, or what his best is presumed to be. That was the first fight I've ever seen of him, but he didn't really use his reach. He he threw a 1-2 combination, and Oganov would move into the inside, and against anybody else bar cruiserweight, which Oganov was before this fight, it probably would have been closer in stature. It was a very one-sided fight, but yeah, he would definitely let Oganov come in on the inside, and he would really, and then he'd push him back out. So he controlled it with his reach, and which is good, but he didn't keep it at range like most tall boxers do. The next point I want to go on to is Michael Zerafa. I saw a video of him on Facebook last night of Eddie Hearn contacting him to fight Ted Cheeseman before Christmas, and that is a big fight for both men. Obviously it will be for Zerafa's Commonwealth belt, which is exciting for Michael, and hopefully he wins that fight, because that could set up some massive domestic fights in Australia, and I know I definitely want to see them, and I think he does, and the Australian public definitely do, because that is a stacked division, the junior middleweight super welterweight division. It's got Michael Zerafa, obviously, Dwight Ritchie, Wade Ryan, who's a bit fringed at the moment. He's probably on the outside of that top 4 or 5. Dennis Hogan is at the top. He's obviously WBO ranked number 1, and he's fighting Jamie Weech, which will be an exciting fight. Jamie Weech obviously doesn't like to lose and will bring it, and obviously the man himself, Tim Tszyu, is also in that division, and he's coming along very nicely. Hopefully he'll have some bigger fights in 2019. That will be really good to see his progress, and hopefully one of them is against Michael Zerafa. The next and the main part of this video will be discussing the upcoming world title bout between Jason Moloney and Emmanuel Rodriguez, and it's got blockbuster written all over it. Stylistically, the fight is very well suited. Manny boxes really well on his back foot and doesn't really like to trade. I watched his fight against Paul Butler, and he got tagged a couple of times when he let his hands go, and that's not a bad thing, because he didn't get knocked down and knocked out, and definitely controlled the fight before and after he got tagged. But I think that in Jace's last fight against Kohei Kono, the former world champion, he definitely showed that he was world class, and I think that will give Rodriguez some problems, because Jace is very composed, he's very calm, he picks his shot and he works off of his jab. Not a lot of boxers do that anymore. Usually they'll come in close and try and rip to the body or hook to the head or whatever, but Jace controls it off his jab, and that's a good jab that he's got behind him as well. Rodriguez is a very fast boxer. He's got a lightning fast jab and a very good defense, but I don't think his punches have that much power. Obviously, one would put me to sleep easily, but I don't think that they have one punch knockout power. I mean, I know that if you get hit on the button, anybody is going to go to sleep, but I just don't think that he's got the power to knock Jace out. And if he gets past Jason, I don't think he's going to get past Inoue with the power he's got. Obviously, Naoya Inoue knocked out JC Payano in 70 seconds in Japan a couple of weeks ago. I do see Jace winning this fight on points. I think he will just control the fight on the front foot. He'll keep Manny on the back foot, and that's why I think it'll be a very good stylistic fight. Obviously, Jace likes to control it on his front foot, and Manny likes to work off the back foot, so that will be very interesting. Whoever gets on top of the contest, the other fighter will definitely have to adjust his style to be able to either get back in or win the contest from there. And I do see Jason Moloney becoming the new IBF World Bantamweight Champion and bringing it back to Australia where it belongs. As for the rest of the competition, I tip Inoue. Bar Jace, I'm very close to Jace, and I can see why a lot of people, whoever watches this, can or will predict this to be biased with what I've just said, but I do think that Inoue will win the competition. Obviously, everybody's got a fighter's chance, but the resume that Inoue is slowly building will be very difficult to stop. I do hope that I get proven wrong and that Moloney can go all the way, but we'll just have to wait and see. The last thing that I wanted to bring up was the rest of Australian boxing for the year. So I'll just go through the main bouts if it loads. So obviously some of the bigger cards in Australia would be, probably start with Brian Armatruda's November 17 card. It's got Zach Dunn fighting for the WBA Oceania Super Middleweight belt against Bo Gibbs Jr., as well as Taylor Harris fighting for the Australian middleweight title, Benjamin Kelleher defending his Australian cruiserweight title against Kyle Webb, and a pretty localised undercard. And then to top that, there is the Malvern Mania, as it's been titled, Lyndon Hosking and Peter Maniatis' card. On the 24th of November at the Malvern Town Hall, it's headlined by Joel Camilleri. He's fighting Adam Dio Abdelhamid for the vacant WBC Asian Boxing Continental title. And that has got a stellar undercard with Terry Dzumaranis and Victor Adindo. That will be a very good fight. Adam Kayulis, Matt Sheehan and Daniel Huklak fighting for Victorian titles. They'll be defending and fighting for state titles, as well as Eman Carlos and Shay St. John as well. And, well, it's just, if you know Australian boxing and you know some of those names, you know how big that card is. Obviously there's not the massive names as in Jade Mitchell, Michael Zerafa, Tim Tszyu, and the Moloney twins, but as far as a local matchup, local card goes, it's pretty high up there. And I think that's about it to round out the year. Obviously, there's probably one more here, or two. On the 30th of November at Suncorp Stadium, Jeff Horn is going to fight Anthony Mundine. I do think that Jeff walks over Mundine, just because he'll have something to prove, to show that he is the next big thing in Australia. Which is granted. He got knocked out by Terence Crawford earlier this year. He wanted the best fights and he's taking the best fights. I don't agree with it being a 71 catch weight. It really just shows that it's a money fight, but good luck to both. And obviously on the 14th of December, Jade Mitchell fights again. And according to BoxRec, Luke Jackson's on that card as well. So that's quite a good lineup for the rest of the year, as well as Jamie Weech and Dennis Hogan. And I think that's on Fox as well, so that's a very good fight and a very good card. It's good to see that that will be on Fox as well. Obviously, DDP Sports Management have done very well in their last couple of fight cards. They've had Dennis Hogan versus Jimmy Kilrain Kelly, and that was on Fox, I think, or it was on Epicenter, but it was free. So they're publicising it very well. They want the best local matchups on their card, and I think that they're heading in the right direction, as are a few others in Australia. So that'll be it for the video, or the podcast if you call it. Hopefully it's turned out okay. If you've liked what you've seen, if you could just leave a like and subscribe on the video, that would be awesome. I'll have a WWE Supercard 2 video coming out hopefully on the weekend, as I mentioned in the intro, so hopefully that one turns out better than the last one. I'll make some tweaks to that. But yes, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.